What's up, everybody? This is the Laser Beam of Truth, and today I'd like to share with you a theory that I call the procession of the presidency. In this theory, basically, it's basically a theory that relates to a basic mechanism that controls the world that we live in the United States. And it's kind of like the old Army cadence when they're on a march and the drill sergeant's saying left, right, left. Okay? And this cadence is noticed, not perfectly, but quite accurately, in the presidents that we have in the United States of America. And the way that it works is we get upset with the president. We get upset with their policies. We get upset with the way the United States of America is working under that president and his policies. And so we come to this conclusion that it's the fundamental basis of the policies that's to blame, and that we need to look elsewhere for a more successful approach. And that's a logical approach. That's a logical thing to think. However, the problem is that we only have two parties to choose from, and these two parties are both dominated and controlled by the money interests in the world. Okay? So that is why it doesn't matter if it's George Bush or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or George Bush Sr. that is president. We always get the same thing. We always get bigger government. We always get more spending. We always get more taxes, give or take a few tax breaks here or there. We always get all of the above, and it doesn't really seem to matter who the president is, because the president is not actually calling the shots. Okay? The shots are being called by the powers that be that actually run the presidency. And what I'd like to just show people is more or less a timeline of history for the last 100 years. And there are a few exceptions to this rule, but by and large, the exceptions to this rule can be explained by the benefit that that exception placed as far as they benefit the money interests in the financial sector. Okay, so we have Barack Obama right now, President of the United States, Democrat. George Bush, Republican, left, right. Bill Clinton, Democrat. George Bush Sr., and 3 terms of George Bush Sr. and Ronald Reagan, which, by the way, George Bush Sr. got in mostly because of the popularity of Ronald Reagan. Left, right. Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, left, right. Lyndon Johnson and John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy was shot because he completely contradicted the money interests and wrote laws and passed laws that created competing currencies for the Federal Reserve notes, as well as wrote laws that would pass the disbandment of the Federal Reserve altogether. He was assassinated for that reason. We got John F. Kennedy, and then Lyndon B. Johnson, but then before him, Eisenhower. 2 terms of Eisenhower. Before him, we had Harry Truman, Democrat, and then 4 terms of Franklin Delano Roosevelt during the basically the end of the Great Depression and the start of World War II, and through World War II. So this is the one exception to this left-right rule. However, it doesn't take rocket science to think, well, gosh, okay, 1932, right after the Great Depression, of course the people are going to vote for somebody who is democratic, a.k.a. liberal, when the country is starving in the middle of a depression, okay? So, and then, of course, once he gets in there, he proposes his New Deal, and then we get into World War II, and so, of course, they're not going to oust him in the middle of World War II, and they leave him in there for that. So, that being said, he is the one exception to the rule, but it makes sense why he was in there for that amount of time. And furthermore, the one thing people don't realize about Mr. John Delano Roosevelt, or Franklin Delano Roosevelt, is the fact that he was very, very, very close with the money interest of the day. I believe it was his father. I know that he had family members that were very, very well off, well-to-do, money master elite type folks. Before him, just like the procession goes, Republican, Republican, Republican. So, we get several terms of Democrat, but then before him we had several terms of Republican. So left-right procession, just in larger steps and larger periods of time. Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover, all Republican. Before then, we had one of my favorites, Democrat, Woodrow Wilson, the man responsible for the Federal Reserve Act, and the man who also said on his deathbed that one of his greatest regrets was passing the Federal Reserve Act, realizing how much it had destroyed the country that he once knew that was the industrial power that it once was. That being said, the procession of left, right continues on further. So we had Wilson, then we have Taft, who was a Republican, then Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, who was a Republican, William McKinley, who was a Republican, and William McKinley, who was also a Republican, then Grover Cleveland, who was a Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Republican, Republican. And this is back to 1872, basically right after the Civil War. So the big and most important thing to note is after 1912, though, because it wasn't until 1912 that the money interests secured power of the United States of America by way of the Federal Reserve Act and the IRS. Before then, the money interests had some control over the United States, but it wasn't nearly as much as what they secured with Woodrow Wilson's election in 1912. But that being said, this should be a lesson to all of those who want to do the best for their country and choose based on party and rhetoric, based on party credentials. Okay, it really makes no difference whether you're a liberal or a Republican anymore. It does not matter if you vote Democrat or Republican. We are going to get the same result. Until this country wakes up and realizes that it does not matter who you choose, that we will continue to get the same result until we choose someone who is not a Democrat or a Republican. We will get the same results. We will get empire building. We will get dollar expanding. We will get national deficits that grow and grow and grow. We will get all of these things until America wakes up and realizes that it is both parties that have been compromised, and they have been compromised since all of us were alive. I don't think there was anyone that was alive that is watching this that was born before 1912. And if so, God bless you. You've made it a long ways. But that being said, that's pretty much the message I wanted to get across with this video. I just wanted to share with you the reality that I call the procession of the presidency, in hopes that someday maybe people will wake up and realize what is going on. That's it.